Well, hello, my lovely Virgos. This is your monthly forecast for the month of May 2016. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. This is just a little reminder before we get started that this is a general horoscope for anybody who was born with their sun, moon, or rising / ascendant sign in the sign of Virgo. And if you would like me to look at anything personal for you, not just for your sun sign or one sign, I would love to do that. I would love to take an in-depth look and give you a reading to help bring some clarity to any area of life for you. So shoot me an email, it's in my description box, and I will send you all of the information of how to schedule a reading with me. All right, well, let's get started with your monthly forecast. So Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. For the month of May 2016, your biggest emphasis is going to be on ninth house matters. And what that means is education and travel, and also your belief systems and your high-minded goals. These are all going to be a huge focus for you. The reason why is because Taurus is your ninth house, right? And there's all these planets and activity going on in the sign of Taurus this month. So just to explain in detail, we have the sun in Taurus until about the 20th of May. We have Venus there until about the 24th. We have a new moon there on the 6th of May. And then we also have Mercury going retrograde there the whole month. Now Mercury moves forward starting with the 22nd of May. However, it's still going to be in its shadow period, which means it's still trying to get out of that retrograde motion and move fully forward. And that's going to be happening until about the first or second week of June. So pretty much it is retrograde the whole month in your ninth house. So what does all this mean for my Virgos? Well, with the sun there, it's shining a big flashlight on this area of life for you and bringing things to light that are either positive or negative. Anything that you need to take a clear view and look at in regards to ninth house matters is going to be happening for you. So for you, this could be education, for example, your educational pursuits. A lot of my Virgos are probably studying hard right now in some sort of secondary education, college or whatever. Or if you're a younger Virgo, maybe just your primary education is being highlighted even more. You're having to study harder. Maybe your teachers are putting even more homework on you. I mean, this is the end of the school year for a lot of people during the month of May. So my Virgos are going to be working especially hard with those educational pursuits. So just be prepared. But I want you guys to know that there's a lot of supportive energy for you that's going on in this area because Venus is there. And Venus represents female figures, generally speaking, but also anybody who can give you like a boost, a positive boost in this area. So maybe you might have some more Venusian or feminine or female teachers that can help you guys out. Maybe you might be falling behind. I mean, you might have some support from teachers that can give you a little bit of extra time or help you out a little bit to let you, help you to stay afloat with your studies. There's also a new moon in this area. So new moons bring new beginnings, okay? And the new moon is actually being supported positively by two other planets. Now these two other planets are also going retrograde along with Mercury. And they are Jupiter, which is hanging out in your first house of yourself, and Pluto, which is hanging out in your fifth house. The fifth house rules the heart chakra, anything that really means something near and dear to your heart and gets your heart just pumped and jumping, and really makes you feel like you are fulfilling your heart's desires, okay? And Pluto is there transforming you. So with the new moon making aspects to these two planets in these areas of the self, your heart's desires, and your education, you may be going back over what you are studying if you're studying something. And also it can mean your belief systems, as I mentioned. So are you studying things, whether if it's school or religious beliefs or anything like that, that really, really mean something to your heart, that are really going to transform you to become a fresh and new person, who is jolly and happy and really feels like they are serving their purpose here on earth. That's what the new moon is going to highlight for you. And you may wake up that day, or the next day following, like really feeling like you have an idea of exactly what you want to do in life. And if you're not doing that, not pursuing that, that may be brought to your attention as well. And you may be called to, go back over those things and figure out what is it that you really want to do in your life. Now, Mercury is going retrograde in your ninth house as well. So Mercury is going back over things too. So you may have maybe some educational opportunities come back up again that you wanted before, but you couldn't get. And, maybe you might get letters from that university that you wanted to get into before, or some sort of secondary educational school or trade school. And maybe that opportunity was like dismissed before or not available. Now you may get those letters or those calls or those emails, or somebody calling you up to the office if you are already in school to tell you about these things. Or maybe you really take a hard look at what you're studying, and if it's not true to you, to your heart, your soul, and your purpose, you may go back over and see what other opportunities you can pursue within higher education, or even just hiring your mind, broadening your horizons. Now remember, the ninth house also has to do with travel. So if there's anywhere where you wanted to travel that really, really means something to you, maybe that opportunity comes back up again, or the idea comes back to you during this time. Now, because Mercury is still in retrograde and in shadow, I would be very, very careful with reading all of the fine print before signing anything, sending anything in, or making any type of travel plans and, making them like definite and setting them in stone. Read all the fine print. I'm not saying don't do them at all, ooh, Mercury retrograde, but try to avoid them if you can. But if you can't, just make sure you have a clear understanding of everything. Just read everything, okay? Now, towards the end of the month, from the 20th on, the sun is going to be in the sign of Gemini, and Venus is going to join the sun in Gemini on the 24th of May. So this is your 10th house of career and social status. So what this tells me is some of my Virgos who are really, really deep in their educational pursuits and studies, they may accomplish something. They may actually graduate and then move to a higher social status, social standing, which can be like degrees and certificates and titles. That's what the 10th house rules. So great time to accomplish those things if that's what you're pursuing. Or maybe you're training and studying while there's the 9th house activity. Then once the 10th house energy makes the shift, after the 20th and 24th, you can have a lot of supporting positive energy to move up to maybe a promotion within a job and a position that you've always wanted. Now again, because of Mercury retrograde, make sure you understand everything that the job or the title entails, and that it's really true to you, Virgo. But you can still proceed with your life. Just be very clear and detailed, which you guys are excellent at with all the fine print. So there's also a really significant emphasis, my Virgo people, on your 4th house of home and family. Now this is because Mars, Saturn, and the full moon are all happening there. Mars and Saturn are going retrograde in this house. Now this is a house of home and family. That can mean your physical home, or just your home life in general, and also your family life. So Mars and Saturn are two planets that really call you to work very hard. Mars is physical drive and action and hard work, and Saturn is like the teacher that's teaching you the lessons and how to do things by the book, step by step, and do them correctly. So when he's going retrograde, is like giving it an exam in a way, like testing you on everything he's been trying to teach you in that area of life since, he went into that area, which was last year. And then Mars just entered there in February or March. I can't remember offhand exactly when. But you're being called to work very hard. Maybe your family life needs some fixing and some things worked on. Maybe you need something therapeutic, as far as healing from old past childhood wounds, or maybe within your own family life, some things need to be adjusted. And this is what's going on with the retrograde action. It's calling you to fix things, to go back over them again. Now, as I mentioned, this can mean your physical home. If you don't have a family of your own, or family's not really like a big deal for you, it can be just that your home itself, maybe it needs some work. It needs you to physically fix things around the house. Maybe it's just having to do with the place that you actually call home. Is this the place for you? Are there too many repairs that need to be fixed and too much that you need to put into it that's just too hard, and you're like, you know what, it's time for me to move to somewhere that doesn't require all of this hard work. But If you're in a home that you really do enjoy, I would say put in that hard work. And once these planets move forward, this can be an opportunity to really finally feel at peace and at home there. Now, on the 21st, there's going to be a full moon in Sagittarius, which is your fourth house of home and family. And full moons bring things to a close, to a final decision. Full moons are very emotional days. And the fourth house is the house that is also really super emotional, because it corresponds with the fourth sign on the zodiac wheel, which is Cancer. So anytime the moon is in your fourth house, and the moon rules Cancer, right? It's very emotional. Cancer's emotional. When the moon goes there, whether it's full or not, it's going to be an emotional day for my Virgos. So since it's like a full moon, it's like dun dun dun, like huge and really, really bringing all these emotions out of you. So just keep that in mind for the 21st. It could be a very, very emotional day. And I know that my Virgo people don't really like to act out irrationally when it comes to emotional stuff, but you guys can kind of lose a little bit of control of that on that day. So just warning you. But when it comes to home and family matters, the full moon is actually there to help you to come to a final conclusion. A conclusion of whether or not to move or sell or buy with your home, or whether or not to continue fixing it, or maybe a conclusion of, yes, this needs to be fixed and it's something major, and so this is what we're going to focus on. Or maybe it's with your family, a decision that you need to make that is very, very important when it's in regards to family. And I know with Saturn there in the fourth house for my Virgo people right now, this may be calling some of you guys to take over some responsibility over elderly family members, parents that are aging, or grandparents, or aunts or uncles, anybody who is aging and elderly. A lot of times Saturn in the fourth house is bringing those issues to the forefront for you. So you may have more responsibility that comes up, and maybe your family needs to make a decision of who's going to care for grandma or grandpa, mom or dad, aunt or uncle, or whomever, who's going to take over their business, their finances, or their home. Like, what are we going to do? So a final decision can be made around the 21st with your home and family, Virgo. So Virgos, another important thing to mention is Jupiter is in your sign and will be there until the fall of 2016. And Jupiter is retrograde, but it's going to start moving forward on the 9th of May. So Jupiter in your first house is a great time to take on opportunities in any part of life, because the first house, it just represents you overall, okay? You total as a whole person being here on planet Earth. And with Jupiter in your sign, Jupiter brings great opportunities. When it's retrograde, those opportunities may slow down, or some may come back to you. And when it moves forward again, it's time to jump on it, Virgo. So this is good news for you guys. Jupiter moving forward in your sign. So all in all, to wrap up the month for my Virgos, it's a month for opportunity, for going after those grand goals. But just make sure you have a clear understanding of everything because of the retrograde planets. But there are some supporting, energies going on to help you guys to really broaden your horizons, expand and excel in your life and your career overall. All right. Well, I hope this was insightful for you and helpful in any kind of way. And remember, if you would like me to look at anything personal for you guys, just shoot me an email and I will send you all the information on how to schedule and pay for a reading with myself, and I would love to do so. All right. Well, take care, you guys. I will see you in the month of June. Until then, mwah, love ya. Peace.